Hello everyone, greetings from Chateau Buffemont. I'm Sarp, your manager here at the Chateau and your host on these weekly interview sessions, Let's Talk Weddings. During this quarantine period, we aim to be a voice of positivity and we are committed to sharing useful tips and suggestions for events and weddings. We have Akiko Kovacs, the owner and the creator of Paris-based floral design studio Floraison. Hello Akiko.
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm great Akiko, how are you?
I'm great.
Yes, it's great to have you here on board with us today. How are you holding up? How are things?
Great. Thank you for having me. Actually, it's my first time live.
Yes. Well, don't worry, this is my second time too. All mistakes are allowed. We are here just to have fun and just to, having a one-on-one conversation. So most of our audience know about you already. If you don't, last year in June, Akiko did a great floral design here right at the chateau for a beautiful outdoor wedding, and on this session Akiko we will talk about flowers, wedding decorations, and we will hear your suggestions for future brides and grooms. If you're ready, let's talk about who you are. I'd love to hear your story of how you came to Paris, how you ended up here in France, and your path of becoming such a talented floral designer.
So, hi everyone. My name is Akiko and my floral design studio is called Floraison. I was born in Tokyo, Japan, and I moved to Paris in 2012. So it's been 8 years I'm living in France.
Okay.
So after graduated in Tokyo, I started working in a company and I was doing marketing. And it was great, but I was living like day by day without big purpose. And then in 2011, I don't know if you remember, but in Japan, the earthquake of Fukushima happened.
Of course, yeah.
Actually, and it was a scary event, and I said to myself that it's important to do what we love because life is just one time. And so I decided to follow my dreams. And so the flowers are not, it wasn't clear that I wanted to do flowers at the first time. And so I tried several things, and more I do flowers, and more I fell in love. So I decided to study flowers in France. So that's why I came in France.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, so at first I was taking classes and studying French and working in several florists.
Okay.
And then I decided to start my own business in 2014.
Okay, that's great. Well, since your personality is actually, in a way, your brand, tell us a bit more about Floraison Design Studio and your style, which is very unique.
Even if I came to France to study French style flowers, what I do actually now is not classical French style. Okay. It's I like garden-inspired, romantic, refined design. So I think in France, like really wild flowers and garden style is popular, but I love to take care of details and I love to create refined design. So I think that's different from other florists, and maybe this is my side of my Japanese side.
I'm sure, like most of us in the wedding industry and some of the future brides and grooms who had to postpone their weddings and who need to reschedule their event for the next coming months, you must be also dealing with a lot actually during this quarantine period. What would you suggest us to do to keep our good hopes up?
So I think it's difficult for everyone, and of course it's painful for the couples to postpone. But what I've learned with the event of Fukushima, for example, is that it's very uncertain, but it will end one day. So I think just we need to stay positive, and also you have maybe more time, so it's an occasion to reflect yourself, what you really want, and you have maybe more time for planning, so yeah, just stay positive and reflect.
Of course.
On
Yeah,
what you
keep up the positivity,
want.
and
Yeah,
I know things will be better in the few months later, and
yeah,
weddings will always win. Also love.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we will be
yeah.
back.
I think
We
I
will be
really
back.
think so. Yeah.
That's great. We have asked our followers earlier if they have any questions for you, and we received a lot actually. I have a long list, but so I had to make a few choices amongst. Here are the top ones that we solved the most. If you are willing to answer some of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you come up with the theme or the design that do we need to consider so that everything remains in harmony with the venue, but also the season of the wedding?
So I think there are three types of events. The first one is the wedding designer who design everything, and I provide flowers in that case. And the second one is we design together with wedding planners. And the third one is we discuss personally with bride and grooms. So the second one and third one, first thing that I consider is the venue, because flowers are to complement the venue. So I am inspired by venues a lot. So it's important to know where the ceremony or the dinner will take place. And I also want to know the style of the couple, and not necessarily what kind of flowers they like, but maybe the style, the lifestyle or clothes or anything can help.
Of course.
And also I need to know the budget, because because maybe 5,000 euro budget and 50,000 euro budget, we don't do the same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, the venue and the style or any other complement information and the budget, and then we come up with color palettes and seasonal flowers and design.
Of course, that's a very good point. Perfect. I'll come back to the budget aspect a bit later. We have some more questions regarding the decoration first. What types of vases do you use, or how do we choose them? What are your suggestions in that angle?
So in terms of vases, it's a part of the design. So I think in France there are a lot of historical chateaus, and they are not modern. So I think it's nice to use something old style, antique vases, or maybe if it's something modern, maybe ceramic vases or something more minimal. But I don't use a lot of like modern glass vases, because I personally think that it matches better to use something old or modern, but more design.
I see.
Yeah.
Do you usually provide them, or do we rent them? Okay.
Yeah, usually vases I provide them, because in general I prepare centerpieces or anything that I can prepare the day before I prepare at the studio. So I have a lot of vases, so I use my vases, and it's rental items, and I will pick up
I
at
got
the
it.
end.
And in terms of decorations, what other table decoration object ideas can we talk about? Like candelabras, mirrors. What type of objects do you like to use?
I usually provide candles as well. I think candle colors and textures can complement flowers really well.
Okay.
Yeah, I love to use candles, and yes, some votives and tea light candles, anything candles I use a lot. And also sometimes it's nice to use maybe fruits to have
Interesting.
textures and colors all the way of the table. What else? I don't use mirrors because it's for me it's too modern and it's not the style that I do. But yeah, mainly candles.
Many candles.
And
Okay.
candelabras are often rentals.
Of the rentals. Okay, and what are they also remain kind of traditional, like you said, with the vases, they remain within the same style?
Yeah, either something like gold candelabras with traditional French style, or something very minimal like ceramic candle holders. I love to use them. Yeah.
So coming back to the budget aspect, most of our viewers wanted to know about these things as well. How do we assign a budget for decoration, and what recommendations you could give for us to maximize our budget?
Yeah, it's a good question. If you have enough budget to decorate everything you want, that's great.
Yes,
But
everyone's happy.
everyone has budget, so we need to respect the budget. I personally recommend to use budget for our budget to one area. If you need to select the location. For example, if you want something wow for your ceremony, maybe we can use a lot of flowers for arches and aisle flowers. And maybe then we can have less flowers for dinner tables. I think if we remove budgets from everywhere, then maybe every item can look a little bit poor. So I personally recommend to have something wow and put a lot of budget for that one. And then maybe if we need to adjust, maybe reduce items or other items.
I mean, I guess when it's more green rather than using less flowers, those are the things that we can play with.
Yeah, we can do something really beautiful without spending a lot of money. So yeah, sometimes a lot of greenery, or sometimes fruit, or yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea. I understand. We have also many viewers who are very curious about your thinking process of design and execution. How does a wedding day look like for you, and tell a bit more of your day here on a venue and the preparation process.
So I prepare everything that I can prepare in advance. I prepare at the studio.
Okay.
So, for example, centerpiece or urn arrangement or aisle flowers, I prepare at the studio. And on site on the wedding day, I only prepare something that I need to prepare on site. So something like art or installation. Or something like that.
Okay, those big pieces usually get prepared on the
in advance. So because a lot of times the time is limited on site, so to maximize the time and to not to be rushed.
Okay, and usually how long do you need on the day of the wedding to come in and prepare to make sure?
It really depends on the items. If it's a classic flower art, maybe I would say 3 hours, and maybe I would add 1 hour to be sure. If it's something bigger, maybe more. For example, last year we decorated Opera Garnier, and we started.
Beautiful,
thank you. We started midnight and we finished at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was.
It was a long night for you.
15 hours. We were 9.
Okay, of course. Yeah,
so it depends on the items. Sometimes we don't have art, so sometimes we just have something that we can prepare. So
I'm also curious myself. Where do you provide your flowers from? Supply your flowers from? Usually from France, or do you bring them up from other countries as well?
So usually I buy flowers at Rangis Flower Market. So Rangis Flower Market, Rangis is the market for food, like meat, fish, vegetables. Yeah, and also there are flowers. It's a huge market, and I always buy flowers there. So for events, I order flowers in advance. I have suppliers. So there are wholesalers and local growers at the market. Local growers are there just in summer, so not in winter. So if it's winter weddings, I buy from a wholesaler. But for summer weddings, I mix. So I can't buy everything from local grower, but because of the quantity of flowers, so I order some flowers from wholesalers, and then on site at the market, I add some locally grown flowers.
It must be a great place, these floral markets. Bunch of colors and beautiful shapes, I assume.
It's great. I miss the market. It's closed now. I think it's maybe a little bit open, but it's closed now.
Okay. Are you currently working on any floral pieces at home? I saw that you have also an online classes on your website about floral design, and I heard that you have a new class coming in. Talk a bit about that, please.
Yeah, I'm working on online class now. I wanted to do online classes for a long time, maybe like 2-3 years. But I started this year at the beginning of the year, and we filmed, and everything is almost ready. So I'm hoping to start from the end of April or the beginning of the May.
I see. Okay. We have one last minute question came in as well. Anais is asking what your favorite flower is.
It's difficult to choose. I have a lot of favorite flowers. I love something natural, like garden roses and wildflowers, and like Japanese anemones and sweet peas. We have lilacs here. These are locally grown. I love lilacs. Anything from the garden. Yeah.
Anything for the garden is good, of course. And also Daisy asked where she can learn about your master classes. I'm gonna answer for it. Go to Floraison website, or you have a master class.
So it's not online yet. I'm hoping to launch the end of April or the beginning of May, so it's coming. So you can subscribe my newsletters so that
I've ordered it, so I'll be looking forward to it. Maybe in the next month we'll have you on board to share some aspects of the master classes together, and if that interests our viewers, we can have some fun together. So that sounds good.
Great.
Sounding exciting. Okay, awesome. Any one last tip for our viewers, or anything else you'd like to add?
So for brides and grooms, I think if you have already decided where to get married, I think it's a good. Everyone is available now, so it's a good time to plan. Because once everything is over, I'm sure everyone will be very busy. So
that's true.
I think now is the time to plan everything, and like this we will be ready for the wedding season. I hope it will be okay soon.
Yes, it will be okay. Also in France, I guess from July we'll be able to open up the wedding season, and also for our international guests probably from September. That means this is the right time to get in touch with your vendor, get in touch with the venue. We have a lot of time on our hands. We do our best to be able to respond all the questions as you are today, and these are the times to prepare even for next year, even for 2022, and also of course this year's wedding. We have time, so we can respond to all questions and make sure we make good use of our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome, Akiko. Thank you for answering all our questions and joining us on our Let's Talk Weddings interview session today. It was great to have you with us. I hope you do best, and hopefully we have a great wedding season ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Akiko. I hope to see you soon. Have a great night and stay safe. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Well, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed our talk with Akiko and got some useful tips for your wedding coming up in the next few months. We will be back once again next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. Stay home, stay entertained, and stay home with Chateau Bouffemont. We will see you soon.